Hello, guys. Welcome back to Ambition Academy. Today, I am going to narrate the story of John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, The Surprise Party. Just before tea time, there came a loud ring on the front doorbell. Bilbo ran to the door. "I'm so sorry to keep you waiting," he was going to say when he saw that it was not Gandalf at the door. It was a dwarf with a blue heart stuck into a golden belt. As soon as the door was opened, he pushed himself inside just as if he had been expected. "Dwellin at your service," he said with a low bow. "Bilbo Baggins at yours," he said, surprised. When the silence that followed had become uncomfortable, he added, "I'm just about to have tea. Do come in and have some with me." What would you do if an uninvited dwarf came to visit without a word of explanation? They had not been at the table long when there came an even louder ring at the bell. "Excuse me," said the hobbit. "It's Gandalf for certain this time," he thought as if puffed along the passage, but it was not. It was two more dwarves, both the blue hoods and yellow beards. "What can I do for you?" said Bilbo. Killy at your service," said one, and Filly added the other. They both swept off their blue hoods and bowed. "At yours and yours families," replied Bilbo, remembering his manners this time. "Let us join the throng," said Killy. "Throng?" thought Mr. Baggins. "I don't like the sound of that." He sat in the corner trying to collect his wits, while the dwarves sat round the table and talked about mines and goals and troubles with the goblins and the threat of dragons and lots of other things which he did not understand and did not want to, for they sounded too much adventurous. Then, ding dong a ling dang, his bell rang again. "Someone at the door," he said, blinking. "Some four, I should say by the sound," said Filly. "Besides, we saw them coming along behind us in the distance." The poor little hobbit sat down in the hall and put his head in his hands and wondered what had happened and what was going to happen and whether they would all stay to supper. Then the bell rang again, louder than even, and he had to run to the door. It was not four after all, it was five. Dori, Nori, Ori, Oin, and Gloin were their names, and off they marched in to join the others. Already it had almost become a throng. Some called for drinks, and one for coffee, and all of them for cakes. The dwarves were starting on a round of buttered scones when there came a loud knock. Bilbo rushed along the passage, very angry and puzzled. He pulled open the door with a jerk, and more dwarves! The last of these was Thorin, an enormously important and proud dwarf, and there was Gandalf behind, leaning on his staff and laughing. "Now we all are here," said Gandalf. "Quite a merry gathering. I hope there is something left for the latecomers to eat and drink." "Yes, let's have some more cakes and coffee," called the other dwarfs to Bilbo. "Put on a few eggs," Gandalf called to him as the hobbit stumped off to the kitchen, "and just bring out the cold chicken." By the time Bilbo had got all the dishes and knives and forks and glasses and plates and spoons and things piled up on a big trays, he was getting very angry and red in the face. "Bother these dwarves," he said aloud. "Why don't they come and lend a hand? Lo and behold, There stood Balin and Dualin at the door of the kitchen, and before Bofor and Bombor behind them. Before he could say a word, they had whisked the trays into the parlor and set out everything. Gandalf sat at the head of the party with the 13 dwarfs all around. The dwarfs ate and talked and talked. At last, they pushed their chairs back, and Bilbo made a move to collect the plates and glasses. I suppose you will all stay to supper, he said in a polite and unpraising tone. Of course, said Thorin, and after we shall not get through the business till late, but we must have some music first. The dark filled all the room, and the fire died down, and the shadows were lost. And suddenly, first one dwarf and then another began to sing, and they played their instrument. Forward the misty mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day, to seek the pale enchanted gold. The dwarfs of Ur made mighty spells, while hammers fell like ringing bells. In places deep where dark things sleep, in hollow halls beneath the fells. Goblets they carved there for themselves, and harps of gold where no man delves. There lay they long, and many a song was sung unheard by men or else. The bells were ringing in the dell, and men looked up with faces pale. Then dragons' ire, more free than fire, laid low their towers and houses frail. Far over the misty mountains grim, to dungeons deep and caverns dim, we must away ere break of day, to win our hearts and gold from him. As they sang, Bilbo felt the love of beautiful things made by hand. Then something woke up inside him, and he wished to go and see the great mountains, and hear the pine trees and the waterfalls, and explore the caves. He looked out of the window. The stars were out in the dark sky above the trees. He thought of plundering dragons setting on his quiet home and burning it all off to flames. He shuddered. Very quickly he was plain Bilbo Baggins again. Thank you. If you like this story, please give a like and share this content, and please do subscribe my channel by clicking the bell icon. See you in the next video.